Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Sunday Bunch live here on SAFC Fan TV. On today's show, we'll be looking back and reviewing Sunderland's 0-0 draw against Preston North End at the Stadium of Light yesterday, and also looking ahead to Tuesday night's game at home to Blackpool. Joining me on the Sunday Bunch live this evening, we have got Emma. Emma, how are you doing?
I'm not bad, Jacob. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Very, very good. And also joining us has been on numerous occasions on the Sunday Bunch, Jack Shields. Jack, how are you doing this evening?
Yeah, I'm all right. Hopefully, hope everyone else is as well. Relaxing day for me today, but looking forward to a bit to crack about Sunderland as always.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also joining us, who joined the team at the start of the season, Wayne Duran. Wayne, how's your evening going, mate?
Yeah, not bad, Jim. Nice and chilled day today, same as Jack. Looking forward to talking about something for an hour.
Absolutely, absolutely. Don't forget, guys, that the live chat is open. If you want to throw in any questions for us on tonight's show. Joining us on the live chat at the moment, we've got CONRAD, Tank, evening all, Alan Robinson, evening lads, Emma Hansen, who's also on tonight, evening, Carl Stewart, long time no see, DJ SAFC, crazy videos, morning all, and just scrolling up, we have also got Las Palmas Mackham, evening lads, FTM. So we'll start off with tonight's show talking about the 0-0 draw against Preston North End. It was really good to be back at the Stadium of Light yesterday after feels like a very long time since we had a home game. The last one was at home to Norwich at the end of August. Sadly, it wasn't the result that we wanted, a 0-0 draw. But I think the big debate on tonight's show is, was it a bore draw or a point gained, considering the way how Preston came up and the tactics more or less wanted a point from minute one. Jack, how did you see the game yesterday?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't a classic, was it? I don't think anyone was going away really excited or wanting to talk in great detail about the game. I felt you couldn't fault our effort and the lads' commitment. I thought, in terms of, a performance from us, we did everything but put the ball in the back of the net, and that's the hardest thing in football. But we always are going to be missing, the likes of Ross Stewart and Ellis Sims if they aren't playing. Do you know what I mean? And I felt like our commitment was there, everything was in place, but the end product, and that was what we were missing. And ultimately, we would have needed to take one of those chances, and we'd be coming away saying it's another good win, and everyone would have been a little bit more pleased with the result. Now, it's not too bad overall. A point against, as you touched on, Jacob, a Preston team who you have to give them credit sometimes. You can't always look at things solely from a Sunderland perspective. I know that's what we are trying to do, but I think you have to look at the opposition as well and realise that Preston really, really organised. I think they've had something like, is it 6 or 7 0-0 draws already this season? I think they've only scored 3 goals. So it's evident that their managers looked at it and thought, well, not a lot of goals in this team, but what I'll do is I'll make my team hard to beat and organised and work hard. And we just didn't really test their keeper enough, did we? We didn't really have that many clear-cut out-and-out chances, and it would have only taken one and it would have been a very good win. But it's a point. It's another point at the minute. We've made a steady start. And I said before these 2 home games, if we can get 4 points in these 2 home games, I would have been satisfied. So it just means that it puts a little bit more emphasis on us to win on Tuesday night against Blackpool.
Absolutely. And Wayne, as Jack was saying there, Preston came into the game with a strong defensive record. I think it was 7 clean sheets they kept before yesterday's game. How did you assess their performance overall? And do you think Sunderland should have taken more of an advantage, considering I think they'd only scored about 3 or 4 goals going into the game?
I think like what Jack's just been saying, I mean, they came with a clear game plan. I mean, they disrupted the game every chance they got. I mean, I think every time Jack Clark got the ball, they were kind of pulling him back, they were fouling him. I think they kind of identified that he was our danger man yesterday. But, like an established team like Preston, to come to the stadium and kind of play for a point just shows you kind of how far we've come in the last, the start of the season we've had. So I think if we'd nicked an early goal, it would have been a different game. We had a couple of chances early on, and if one of them had gone in, then it's a different game. But, I think if ever we missed Ross Stewart and Sims, yesterday was the game where we need that focal point up front. There was a lot of nice football in and around the box, but like you say, we just couldn't get that final ball right. Yeah,
just one of those days. Emma, before I come to you, just quickly glancing at the live chat. One person who would have been on the show tonight, but unfortunately he's not feeling too great, is the legend, the man Mistake. Just putting on what he's just put on the chat, reading it out. Apparently he has got man flu, so we wish Terry all the best. We wish him all the best. Emma, the game yesterday, disappointing overall, the fact that we couldn't take our chances, or would you come away from that saying that it was well thought out on a tactical point of view of Preston going into it, and they really done well to play for the 0-0?
Honestly, I'm a bit disappointed. Overall, to me, it was a boring game. I would have had more fun watching paint dry, in all honesty. I mean, there was constant passes at the back, and it took the mick. We just couldn't get through. We couldn't get that finish. From the offset, Preston wanted the 0-0. You could say that straight away. Within about 10 minutes into the game, it was like, it's 0-0 written all over. Even the hubby messaged us. He sits at the opposite end of the ground to me. And he was like, right, look, this is 0-0. That was like 20 minutes in. So to me, I'm a bit disappointed that we couldn't get that finish, but we did miss that finish up front yesterday.
Would you agree with that, Jack? In a way, I think we just seemed to run out of ideas, particularly in the second half, in the final third yesterday. The likes of, Roberts and Clark, struggling to beat their man, and when they did, the finish just wasn't at the potential it could have been. On a good day, that would have hit the back of the net, some of the chances they had. But yeah, I think, would you just agree it was just one of those days going forward?
Yeah, I think you have to look at, we've lost Ross Stewart, our top goal scorer, and then you've also lost your backup striker, haven't you? So we've lost our first two of our first choice strikers. Do you know what I mean? So that's always going to impact upon any team. And yeah, we were just missing that. We had a few balls go across the box that we were being a striker on the end of to tap in, and you're looking at an easy goal. So yeah, I think you can boil it down to as simple as that. You're missing your strike, you're missing a goal scorer in the team, and it's. I think sometimes in a way as well, we didn't miss him so much at Watford, and I think at Reading before then, and I think it might be easier playing away from home because the teams are naturally going to come at you a little bit more. If you're away from home and they're playing at home. Whereas at the stadium, like a lot of teams are going to I'm not saying every team's going to be as defensive as Preston were, but a lot of teams are going to be less willing to come forward, and that means that it makes it even harder for us to break them down. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, but yeah, you could say it's simple as that. We were just missing a bit of cutting edge in the final third.
Wayne, before we come back to you on yesterday's game, a couple of people on the live chat mentioning, particularly Matthew Cutter, I'll read his out. Stokes 0, Watford 4 today. Woohoo! Not a great day for former manager Alex Neil. Alex, unfortunately, if only you'd stayed, mate. It was your decision. You wanted a different challenge, relegation battle, and that's what you're getting at the moment, mate, by the looks of things, from watching your game this afternoon. Wayne, one player that really stood out for me yesterday was, obviously, it was great to see some of the signings that we brought in make their home debuts yesterday. Obviously, Benete, Barr, who I thought looked really good. He's got a bright future ahead. Diallo as well. But Elise in the defence, his clearance off the line, we've got to talk about that. It was such a hard skill to pull off when you watch it back, considering his body position and how he managed to do it. But in terms of, getting the balance of tracking back and also being an absolute Rolls Royce charging up the pitch with pace, like, how excited are you to see what type of player he'll become over the course of the season? It's going to be really hard for Dennis Serkin to get back in the side now, isn't it?
Yeah, I really think it is going to be difficult for him to get back in. I mean, that clearance yesterday, I still don't know how he did it. We were sitting right behind it, and like the pace it was as well. When you see it back, I mean, it doesn't actually do it justice on the telly. When you see it, the pace the ball was travelling for to hook it back over his head was unreal. And since he came in the team, he's been, like you see, he's done really well. He was man of the match, my man of the match yesterday. But like the Watford game, he's trying his best to get forward and joining the attacks as well. And like early on yesterday, he had a couple of chances where he flashed it across, and I think the defender or the goalkeeper stopped it. But he's done really well, and he looks a really, really class act. And for a young age, he's fit into the team really well.
Yeah, it's almost like there's certain sides that do it in the Championship where you play a system where you sort of have overlapping centre backs, you know what I mean, that likes to press forward as well and make those runs in behind. Would you say Elise, in terms of the ability he's got, has the capability to do that really well on a consistent basis going forward, Wayne?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, if he keeps up this type of form, then he's only going to get better. But he doesn't panic. He's got, seems to have loads of time on the ball. He's got a great first touch. He's good in the air. He's got all the attributes to make an outstanding player. He's young, we know that, but there's no reason why he can't go on and have a successful season.
Emma, before we come to you on Elise, obviously another quick glance at the live chat. A question that we'll debate about that Colin's just put in after this. Do you think we should start Bennett on Tuesday? Fed lads, decent point there. Difficult side to break down after playing the false nine. Won't work every time. Happy enough of where we are. Took us till December to get 16 points in the 2017-18 disastrous championship season. Then again, we did have players like Brendan Galloway and Tyus Brown at the back during that period. Emma, Elise, some talent the guy is at the moment.
Yeah, yesterday was just like outstanding. To me, it was like you could take on the whole 11 of their players. The way he played, it's just, I couldn't believe I was watching that type of player for Sunderland. It looks like what Wayne said, that he's going to have a cracking season. If he can stay, touchwood, injury-free, I think he's got to start every game. I think he is our way forward. Because, I mean, that clearance was just... Don't know how he did it. I couldn't have done it. I don't think anybody could have done it, to be fair. Was it just potluck or was it talent? To me, he's one to watch this season. He's a player to watch. But I just hope he doesn't go at the end of the season or even January.
We got him permanently. I thought he was on loan as well.
He's just signed him, haven't we?
I thought he was loaned.
I think just to read the game, to get back on the line, to read the danger at such a young age, to read the game as well as he did is another attribute he's got. So,
Jack, before we come to you, just judging by what I'm seeing, 90 people watching the live stream at the moment, only 22 likes. If you want to hit the thumbs up button, that will be really appreciated. Jack, Elise, fantastic talent from West Ham we've brought in the summer. On the socials, looking of what I'm reading this evening, West Ham fans were actually really disappointed that they let him go, to be honest. And how well do you think he can kick on this season after seeing a performance like that?
Yeah, well, just echoing what Emma and Wayne have already said. I thought he was excellent yesterday. Didn't put a foot wrong. I thought he was composed on the ball, which you need to be, the style that we play. I thought he was solid. First and foremost, you want the defender to be solid at the back and not, when you're having 50-50 duels with strikers, he won every single one. I don't think it was a single 50-50 with any of their attacking players. He went into and lost. So he's physically commanding. Like you say, comfortable on the ball. He's quick. So if there are times when you get played in behind, he can sweep up. And yeah, it just looks like a great bit of business already. I think when you think of our team, an opposition, we'll probably be looking at the attacking players that we've got. You know what I mean? You're probably looking at, as a Preston manager, you probably did training sessions to stop the likes of Alex Pritchard yesterday and Patrick Roberts and Jack Clark. But he was an unsung hero, AJ Alessi, because I think he does go under the radar when you get a solid, no-nonsense defender. But the clearance off the line, as has been touched on, was fantastic. As good as a goal. You know what I mean? That's like a goal at the other end. It's every bit as good as that. And I think, I'm surprised we got him, because I was looking at, I'm thinking, West Ham, maybe, they don't see a future quick enough. Do you know what I mean? Maybe think he's possibly going to be a good player, but we can't wait for him, so we'll get rid of him. But a bit like Rio Ferdinand, who came through the academy 20-odd years ago, I thought, I'm not saying he's going to have that type of career, but the way that he plays, composed on the ball and quick and assured, reminded a little bit of that type of performance. But no, I thought it was excellent, and that type of play, go under the radar. But if he continues to play like that, he's straight in the starting 11.
Before we come to you guys on who you thought was your man of the match in yesterday's game against Preston North End, just another quick glance at the live chat. Las Palmas Macam, this is on Elise rumour, it was 500,000 with a 25% sell-on. Wayne, would you say Elise is your man of the match from yesterday?
Yeah, he was my man of the match. I think Danny Bat as well, but I think, like you say, just because of the composure on the ball and trying to join in and trying to make things happen, really, he's trying to join to be that extra attacker, just shaded for me. But I think, Danny Bat's got a lot to do with Alicia's form as well, because Danny Bat's been solid as well, and he's given them the option to move forward. Now we've got Danny Bat there, who's kind of winning everything as well. He's been rock solid so far this season. So it was a close between the two of them, but I had Alicia to be my man of the match yesterday.
Emma, do you agree?
Yeah, Alicia for me as well, to be honest. I mean, O'Neill, he did look canny yesterday, to be honest. He did have a canny game, but I'd still give it to Elise. He was my man of the match by far.
Jack, is it going to be a full house Elise for man of the match yesterday?
Yeah, I would give it to him. I mean, it wasn't a great game from the attacking perspective from both teams, was it? So I think when you've got a 0-0, you've got to give it to one of the defenders, and I thought he was immense for us. Like you say, the clearance off the line was brilliant and as good as a goal. So I would give it to him. Yeah, and I think we look like we've got a player, don't we? Do you know what I mean? And I think hopefully, I mean, if Premier League team does come calling for him, or somebody does take a look at them, if that clause is right in the contract, then we need to be holding out for big money. Do you know what I mean? Because if he keeps playing like this, I know it's early days yet, we're only kind of a handful of games into the season, but I can't see any reason why his form would dip. I think he'll only get better. He's a young lad, as we touched on. I think young players will get consistent. If they get consistent football, they'll improve. So he's probably going to get even better the more he plays, hopefully. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you, Jack, as well. Elise, my man of the match. It was that goal line clearance that won it for me. Although there was other key moments in the game where I think it was a good touch and go he had with Jack Clark, where he found himself in the box, and I think he tried to cut it back to, I think it was Embleton or Roberts on the far side, instead of going for the far corner. But yeah, going up and down the pitch, he was like a train for us yesterday. Elise, absolutely superb, and yeah, the clearance was just one of those mind-blowing moments of how he done it. So that will stay with us for a long, long time. That going back to Colin Major's comment he's put on the chat, one of the new lads, was it Jewison Bennett, who came on, definitely added more flair and pace in the final third of the latter stages of the game yesterday. Would you say he deserves a start now for the performances that he's been putting in the last few games against Reading, Watford, and Preston as well? And also, I must say, he just comes across, considering he's come over, he's just about, getting to understand the English culture a bit. He's taken English lessons, and his English is not great, but in terms of confidence, he's right up there at this moment in time. And obviously, the way how he was apparently interacting with the fans, getting the bus home from the game yesterday, fantastic. Did anyone see that picture?
Yes.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Absolute boy. Honestly, I just think he's an absolute joy. And was it that song as well that we've got about him? Signed for Speakman, he's Costa Rican. Fantastic. Wayne, Bennett against Blackpool on Tuesday, would you say he deserves a place in the starting 11 now, along with potentially the other signings like Diallo and Abdullah Bar? We've got to talk about him as well. Quality in midfield yesterday.
It looked good when he came on yesterday. Well, I think there's no reason why he shouldn't be in. I think just to freshen it up, I think the last couple of games, I think Pritchard has been a little bit off, if I'm honest. He's been a little bit off it. His confidence is not, and now we haven't got like Sims and Stewart to aim for as the focal point, but I think he's just been a little bit off it the last few games. So, why not give Bennett a chance? He seems to have no fear. When he came on yesterday, the first thing he wanted to do was beat his fullback and put a cross in. So, he's fast, he's quick. So I don't see any reason why we shouldn't. I think I would be tempted to make 2 or 3 changes for Blackpool. Like I say, I would probably give Barr a start for maybe Dan Neil. Dan Neil, again, last couple of games, I think he's still adjusting to the Championship a little bit. Maybe he's just give him a little bit of a rest and give Barr a chance. So why not?
Emma, would you agree with that? Obviously, it's so important. We're in the Championship now, and we've got the squad we're happy with, and squad depth, that we use squad rotation in periods like this, playing Saturday, Tuesday, like we did last season or the last few seasons in League One. So would you say now's the right time, particularly players who have been key parts of the starting lineup and have got regular starts on a consistent basis like Dan Neil and Pritchard, that we potentially look to give maybe one of them a rest on Tuesday and give the new lads a go against Blackpool?
Yeah, 100%. I don't see why not. Mix it up a bit. To me, it's this point in the season where we can afford to give these lads that run out to see how they gel with the players, see how they play. Obviously, we've just gotten a new manager, so he's still learning with the players. So why not give them that chance so he can see what they're like for the full 90 minutes. And then, to be fair, if it's not working by the end of November, that's when we've then got to think, well, hang on, we need to go back to what was working because we now can't afford to be dropping any points. So to me, now is the time of the season to do it if we are going to do it.
That before I come to you about what you would do in terms of chopping and changing things for Blackpool on Tuesday. Glance at the live chat. Leroy89, Dan Neil has to do more. Decision making very frustrating at times. Maybe Barr or Matete will get a start any game now. Will Allen, agree on Dan Neil, better second half but poor first half. And once again from Leroy89, Matete is looking good whenever he gets on as well. Mishu, another one of the new signings we brought in on loan from PSG this summer, hopefully to come into the fold as well. Sorry, my laptop almost died there. No worries, all back sorted. Yeah, Jack, Tuesday night against Blackpool, the likes of, Diallo, Barr, Bennett, they'll be knocking on the door for starts. But what would you do in terms of making changes for that game?
I'd be tempted to give Bennett a start, to be honest, because the beauty of having a young squad is, as Wayne's touched on, the fearless. You know what I mean? They just want to go on and they're not bothered about anything. They're just wanting to get on the ball and with a pace running in behind. Blackpool and well, not just Blackpool, but other teams in the Championship will not like Bennett's pace running in behind because a lot of teams don't have solid, experienced defenders, but they know, you know what I mean, that they don't like players that are running behind constantly. So I'd be tempted to start him. In terms of who I'd drop, I thought Elliot Embleton, who's often on the fringes of our first team, I didn't think he did very much yesterday. And if that was his audition to become a regular starter, I don't think he made much of a case for himself. So I think I'd probably push Bennett in place of Embleton, and then in the midfield, as has been spoken about, Dan Neil. I tend to find when we're playing well and we're creating chances for fun, Dan Neil's involved. But when we're not doing as well, I think Dan Neil tends to go missing a little bit, and not missing in terms of, I don't think he's trying. I just don't think he's as willing to get on the ball and create things. And if Daniel's not someone who's going to be going into tackles and grafting regularly, he's a technical player, isn't he? And when Daniel's not getting on the ball as much, you have to say, what does he offer? He was a little bit better in the second half, but I don't think he did much. So who takes his place? You could make a case for Barr or Matete or Mishu if he's ready. Do you know what I mean? So either of those, but that would be the two changes that I would make.
Wayne, would you agree? Particularly the midfield in terms of Neil and Pritchard potentially needing a rest, and the likes of Barr and Mishu if he's fit, because I think he was injured during the international break and he was just coming back. Would you look at them to give them a go?
I think Mishu might be on the bench on Tuesday, but I agree with Jack. I thought Embleton again he was kind of out of the game yesterday. There was a couple of times where we had a chance for to break forward in his first touch, and he just seems to be a little bit not lazy, but he just seems to be a little bit slow on his decision making at times, where he could release the ball a little bit quicker, or he thinks he's got more time than what he's got. So I think Embleton would probably be the one that would come out as well, but I would give them a start. I mean, I think Barr in the two little cameos he's played so far, he looks another class act. He seems to have time on the ball. He's not another one who's fearless. He can pick a pass, and he always looks forward as well. So Terry's just put a comment there in the comments there. Does Roberts hold on to the ball too long, or does he deserve to keep it? So. Looking at that yesterday, but I mean, Roberts has been one of our best players in the last two games. But I would definitely look at Bennett and possibly Barr on Tuesday.
Emma, before we come to you, about that comment that Terry made regarding Patrick Roberts. Currently, there are 106 people watching our live stream, 46 likes. So if you could please hit the thumbs up button, very much appreciated. Thank you to everyone who has hit the thumbs up button tonight and who is tuning in. So the man mistake is put on the chat. Does Patrick Roberts hold on to the ball too long, or does he deserve to keep it that long sometimes? How I viewed it, I thought there's no doubt when he cuts in on his left foot, we've always got a chance. I think he's got a tremendous left foot, Patrick Roberts. He's got great ability, fantastic talent. And I think this is the first club in his football career. Now he's in his mid-20s that he's properly settled. I think during his career, breaking through the ranks at Man City, it was mainly just loan spells that he had throughout his career. I think I remember he was at Celtic, he was at Fulham after that. And now I think he sees a long-term plan, being at Sunderland AFC, which is fantastic to see. But Emma, about Patrick Roberts, how did you view his game yesterday? Do you think at times he was frustrating in the final third in terms of his final ball, or do you reckon it was just one of those days where it just couldn't come off for him?
To me, he had an off day. To me, Roberts had a bit of an off day yesterday. His head wasn't in the game. Don't know why. That's my opinion. People might agree, people might not agree. But normally, to me, Roberts is quite good. And like you say, he has got a good left foot. When he plays well. So, to be honest, Jacob, he just had an off day, as far as I'm concerned.
Jack, would you agree?
I think it boils down to, as well, a little bit not having a striker, because I think if we'd had a striker, a lot of the balls he would have been putting in would have probably played it first time. So when he's cutting in, he might get an opportunity to play a 1-2 with, say, a Ross Stewart if Ross Stewart's there. But when we don't have like the focal point up front, he's maybe thinking, where do I go? Do I try and go myself? And I think you've got to give a bit of credit to Preston as well, because I think Preston were that organised and snuffed out, a lot of stuff that was coming down our wide, down the flanks, because we are a team that does get the ball forward quickly in the wide areas, the likes of Jack Clark and Patrick Roberts. So I think you have to give credit to Preston as well, because they did really get themselves organised, and we didn't get much joy from those positions. So I think a little bit of an off day. I thought he was willing to keep trying with it though, which I like, you know what I mean? Because a lot of players, if they've tried a few things and it doesn't come off, then they'll just, hide, to a certain extent. But I thought he was still, trying to create something. It just, as a whole team, it just didn't quite happen for anybody yesterday going forward for us, did it? So one of those things.
Yeah. Wayne, would you, with Patrick Roberts, do you agree that at times he doesn't make the right runs in terms of, his positional play, and his final ball at times is a little bit frustrating in terms of his decision making? He can be a bit greedy at times, but would you say he's a key part of the starting lineup right now with the ability he possesses?
I think at the minute, we're seeing what he could do at Reading, and when he gets the opportunity,
yeah.
But it's like Jack's just been saying there, when you haven't got that focal point, he probably feels he's got to do more himself, and he's trying to take on the responsibility of cutting on the left foot, and like what he did at Reading twice. When it come off, it looks brilliant. When it doesn't come off, then people get on his back a little bit, but he doesn't give up, and he's not. He seems to keep on going. He'll keep on taking his man on. But like you say, like Preston did the homework yesterday. That they knew that our danger was down both flanks because we didn't have anybody in the middle. So that's what they worked on. They banked on us being out, playing out wide, and they snuffed us out. They just every time Clark and Roberts got the ball, there was two people on them. So yes, he can be frustrated at times. Maybe that's why he has had a lot of clubs in the past. He maybe has a few spells where he has a couple of good games and a run of bad games. He just needs to get a bit consistency in his play. But Tony Mowbray seems to like him, and he says on the training ground he's got a wonderful left foot, which we've already seen glimpses of. So, like I say, I think it was just one of them games where Preston snuffed out the danger really.
Before we look ahead to Tuesday night's game against Blackpool, and have a glance at the live chat, Fed Lad has put basically agrees with some of your comments tonight, guys. I would start Bennett, maybe Barr as well on Tuesday. Blackpool have conceded 13 in the last 7 games. Will be very different to Preston. So on to Tuesday night's game, at home to Blackpool, at the Stadium of Light. Blackpool, 1 win in their last 7, managed under Michael Appleton. How important is it that we get back to winning ways on Tuesday night and, boost the confidence of a lot of the young lads who are just breaking through into the team? Emma, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, like I said before, now's the time to give them lads that run out, to give them that confidence boost, if you like. So I think it's important that we get the win, so then it gives them lads even that bigger confidence boost to say, right, well, I can actually go out, I can play championship football, I know how to take on a team. But Blackpool's run, I don't want the lads to go out thinking it's going to be an easy win.
Yeah.
I want them to go out as if it's like a playoff final, if you like how I want Sunderland to play every game. Like it's a playoff final, so we can get that confidence, we can win, we can show that passion. That's what I'd want on Tuesday night against Blackpool. That's what I want every match as well, is that confidence and that fire to go out for that win.
Yeah, Jack, would you agree with that? And also, I was going to ask you, in terms of how we set up in terms of on an attacking point of view in the final third, what do we need to do differently that we struggled on yesterday in the game against Preston?
Well, easy answers, put one in the back of the net, isn't it? But I know what you mean. I know the point you make, and I think if we can change it and if we do start Bennett, which is what I would do, I do think we can get in behind a little bit more, because I think that, as I say, the risk of repeat myself, you've got to give credit to Preston because they were organised, but I don't think Blackpool will be that well organised. So I think if we can get in early with Pritchard on the ball, and we can get somebody running in behind, like a Bennett or somebody of that nature, directly in behind their defence, I think we'll cause them trouble early on. I think, when we got a couple of goals in front against Rotherham, it was plain sailing, wasn't it? We won that home game fairly easily, whereas the other four, we've only won one out the opening 5. So I think away from home, as I touched on, it can be a little bit easier almost. I know it defies all logic because you think your home game should be easier with your crowd behind you, but I think away from home, the style that we play is a little bit more beneficial in terms of, attacking opportunities. So we've just got to work at it. But I do think if we can get players running in behind against Blackpool with pace, we're guaranteed to get chances. And I think we just need to see if we can get a few more shots on target early and pin them back, and hopefully, work our openings. And if we can get get an early goal, cliche, but get an early goal, I think we'll go on to win the game.
Wayne, before we come on to you, another glance at the live chat. Mikelon Allen, I won't change the team. I want these kids to take as much time as they need to settle. The game may be too physical for them from minute 1, and Adam French 3 points on Tuesday night would be a good boost. Also, give the new lads a chance. So to show what they can do, give some of the current ones a day off. Also, Sirius has put, I think we will smash Blackpool. And according to a few comments on the live chat, apparently the game is on the telly on Tuesday night. David Walker, apparently it's accessible through the Sky Sports red button. 114 people watching, now just turned 116 on tonight's live stream. Only 58 likes though. If you could please hit the now just turned 59. Target is to get to 100. If we can reach that, very much appreciated. Please hit the thumbs up button tonight, guys. Wayne, Blackpool on Tuesday night. How do you see the lads going into this one?
Well, to be honest, I don't think we've got too many options to play any different to the way we're playing it at the minute. We're kind of we're stuck for options up front, aren't we? So it's going to be more or less more the same, I think. I think we touched on there on a bad run. They've lost the last 3. So, again, they're going to come and sit deep, and it's going to be up to us to try and break them down. So, like Jack's just been saying, I think we need to get the early goal. The longer it goes on at 0-0, the more we'll get frustrated, and the more the fans get frustrated. So, we might end up in another Preston scenario. So, it's not going to be easy just because they're on a bad run. They'll come and just they'll make it hard to be broke down. They'll sit deep and look to hit us on the break. So, I don't think we're going to play any different to the way we played against Preston, but just hope we can get a little bit more space.
Wayne, what would be your score prediction for Tuesday?
Again, if we can get an early goal, then it could be similar to Rotherham, but I'm going to go for a hard-earned, probably 1-0. I think it's not going to be as easy as people think because they're on a bad run. I think it'd be a tough game.
1-0 to who's your goal scorer?
Jack Clark.
Jack Clark. Emma, let's move on to you. Score prediction for Tuesday night's game again. Oh, And then unfortunately, and for when Emma comes back, while she has her time away thinking about what prediction she's going to give, Jack, will come on to you.
Yeah, I think hopefully we can get the early goal. I don't think we'll batter them, but I think 2-0. I think I fancy Bennett to get one, and then maybe Patrick Roberts in the second half. But I think it will be frustrating. I think we'll have a lot of the ball and we'll have a lot of territory. I think the game will be played in their half for pretty much all of the game. But it's just a case of can we break them down, same as we couldn't on Saturday. But I think we'll get one early, hopefully, and then a second just to complete it later on in the match. So I'll say 2-0.
For my prediction, I'm going to go for 2-1. I agree with you, Jack. I think Bennett will be on the score sheet if he gets a start on Tuesday night. Even though I think if he may not get a start, I think he'll come on and make a good impact straight away. And I think he'll get one of the goals. And, you know, I'm going to say Elise, I think for the way how he played yesterday, I think he deserves a goal in the near future. So I'll say he'll be on the score sheet on Tuesday night. Another glance at the live chat. Elliot and Alderson has put an interesting point, which I want to raise to you guys. A lot of people will slate me for this, but I reckon we should give a striker a chance from the under-23s. Guys, would you say, Wayne, we'll start with you first. Is that a problem that we potentially may need to address going forward into? I know it's working for us right now, but the longer it goes on, because I heard that Ellis Sims potentially may need an operation after the injury picked up at Reading, and I think Ross is still a couple of more weeks away till he's back on the training pitch. The longer it goes on without any strikers in the squad, is that something that we need to address potentially?
Possibly. You know, the worrying, we thought we were going to have Ellis Sims back, you know, for the Preston game. But I've just been watching Terry's video there, and apparently he's gone back to Everton for a scan. So that's not good news. And I think Ross Stewart's not back till possibly after the World Cup. So, you know, can we keep on playing the way we are playing until then and still keep picking up points, which is, I think it's going to be difficult. But again, look at the free transfer market. Who's out there that could come in and do a job? It's a tough one. It is a tough one. Is there anybody in the 23s who could come in and step up? Is it Max Spellman? I think he's been playing quite well in the 21, 23s, but maybe we might have no option but to promote somebody and give them a chance. You know, it's either keep playing the way we're playing, or, you know, look at the free transfer matter, which I'm not too sure if there's anybody out there who could come in and do a job. Looking at the type of player that we need. Yeah, completely agree. Jack, right now, is what Wayne was just saying there in terms of, you know, not having a striker at this moment in time, is that something we should be concerned about going forward, or right now is it a case of just taking it game by game and just picking from who's available to suit us on an attacking point of view?
I think a lot of it will depend on, as Wayne's already touched on, a lot of it will depend on when Stewart and Sims are back. So the fact he's going back to Everton for a scan, I mean, that's not great, because that indicates that we've had a look at it and maybe we can't identify it, and maybe he needs a second medical opinion, or I don't know if it's something in his contract whereby he's meant to go back there if there's an injury that we can't sort of deal with ourselves. I'm not sure on that one, but that doesn't sound hugely positive, because the messages I was getting was that it was only a week or two, and I thought he'd probably be back. I was hoping for it. He might have been back yesterday. I knew Watford was going to be too early for him. And obviously we've had the help. I thought it might have helped that we'd had a week without a game. Do you know what I mean? With the internationals. And then I thought, well, 2 or 3 weeks would be this Saturday. So I thought he might have been back yesterday, or at least Tuesday. But if he's going to be out a while and Stewart's longer term than we think, then I wouldn't be. I know we've got the academy there, but I think it's asking a lot for an under 21 or under 23 player to go in and really shoulder that burden for being a striker for us. So I think you're down to, could you get somebody in a free agent? You know what I mean? And I know the market's very, very sparse at the moment, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Because the good free agents have had a club since June, July, August, and we're now in October. So the kind of, you're on the scrap heap a little bit, aren't you? The only one I mentioned before is Vidra, Matic Vidra, but I don't know what his fitness is going to be like, or whether or not he'd fit into our style of play, what size contract you're going to give him. So there's a lot of uncertainties there, isn't it? But I think a lot of it hinges on getting Ellis Sims and Ross Stewart back. If we can probably cope another few weeks with them, Jacob, but if it's going to be after the international break, or, you know what I mean, even, you know, could we get the middle of November? I don't know. It's a big problem if it's going to be long. I think
that's the interesting, because the next international break, it's a longer break than usual because of obviously the start of the World Cup. But I think during the last international break, it was announced that the game was called off originally for the Queen's funeral, which was Millwall at home. That will be played, I think, on Saturday the 3rd now. At a 12:45 kickoff. I think that'll be during the midst of the World Cup as well. I don't know what a lot of SAFC fans are like at the moment, with 2 separate tabs open on their computer, comparing both sets of fixtures, England World Cup games and also Sunderland AFC games. And who would have thought of that 15 years ago? You know, a World Cup in the Far East played in winter time in the midst of the season. Honestly, never in a million years did I think that would happen as a kid growing up. But Emma, before we come on to you on the striker debate, another glance at the live chat. Adam French, my prediction, Patterson scores and he will get called up to the England under-21s. Also, with Anthony Patterson, he had a very good game, I thought, as well yesterday.
Yeah.
That fantastic save from Ched Evans' volley. You know, he's playing with so much confidence right now, isn't he, with Patterson? Wayne, you want
to say since he came in, since he got his chance last season, now we're calling him back from those countries. Since then, he's gone from strength to strength. It's not really a weakness, but the only thing I would like to work on is to be a little bit more commanding in the box. I think the Watford goal, when he could have been a bit more commanding for their second goal, but other than that, he's been immense. So long may it continue. He's only going to get better. Again, another young lad. The more games he plays, more experience he gets, then onwards and upwards for the young lad.
More comments to read out from the live chat. Mick Griffiths, my mate who lives in Blackpool, is coming to the match. I'm going to meet him. He's not confident on Blackpool getting anything out of the game, so I'm going for a 2-1 win. Peter Harvey, a must 3 points to keep the Magpies quiet. 2-0 Sunderland. Bennett will get a brace. David Jobling, Sunderland 3, Blackpool 1. Keep the face. I think he was referring to keep the faith instead. But Mick Griffiths, I thought we would have got a free agent in. Alan Robson goes back to the debate we've mentioned numerous times on the show. We should have brought Broadhead back. And Leroy 89. Max Thompson has to be at least given a chance on the bench. Can't be much worse than Diaku. And David Walker. Don't think Blackpool will come for a 0-0 like Preston did. So I'm going for a 2-0 win. Emma, the striker problem right now, Ross, as what Wayne said, may not be back until after the World Cup in Qatar. We don't know the full extent of Ellis Simms' injury, of when he's back. Should we potentially maybe look into the free agent market, or potentially look at giving someone from the academy a chance at this moment in time to fill the gaps in the squad?
Sorry about before, by the way, my computer died. But my score prediction for Tuesday, I'm saying it's 2-1. So my computer won't load back up, so I'm on my phone. So if it does drop.
Who's scoring?
I quite fancy Gooch to score.
Linda Gooch.
I think Gooch he's due a goal, to be fair. But back to the striker debate. We had this debate yesterday in the pub before the game, to be honest. And I was like, we should look for a free agent because we need it. We need that backup striker. We should have done this in the transfer market. We held out for Broadhead. All the fans saying, get Broadhead, get Broadhead. We're now left with no striker. So the problem we've got is, what good free agents is there? What contract would we give them? Like what Jack said, would they be any good? Once we've got Stewart and Sims fit again, would there be a place for them in the team? They'd just sit on the bench and would be paying a wage. To me, I think we should look to the academy and just give them a run out, even if it's just a 20-minute run out. Play the way we've been playing with a false 9, but the last 20 minutes of the game, knock them into the game and give them that little bit run, just to fill that little big gap, so we have got that striker up front. Because, as Wayne was saying, I heard about Sims going back to Everton, and I reckon that's possibly a broken foot. So I think he could be out a lot longer than
would you expect? So I reckon Sims and Stewart's going to be out for the same length of time.
Wayne, you're wanting in there?
Yeah, I mean, would there be a case for Ahmad to possibly play up front? I mean, I think when he
he's
was
done
at
it
Rangers,
before at Rangers, yeah.
When he was at Rangers last season, I think they used him as a centre forward. I think he scored 3 in 12 or something. So, you know, watching him when he came on, his first touch looks really, really good. When the ball's into him, it sticks. And for a little lad, he's strong and he holds off, you know, defenders. So, is there a case for to give him a chance to play up front?
Jack, you wanted in there?
Yeah, I was just going to back up with what Wayne said. I think that's the route we're going to have to go down, because I think the one thing we were missing was an out-and-out striker. And what we did with the false, if it was a false 9 or whatever we tried yesterday, didn't really work, did it? So I think the options are, you have to look at either Bennett or Diallo. I think you have to just say, you pick one of those and just say, you're our striker, try and play the role, you know, as best as you can. Listen, they're not going to be as good as Ross Stewart plays. You know, Ross Stewart is irreplaceable, really, to us, isn't he? I think we did leave ourselves a little bit short in the transfer market. We've also been unlucky as well, because to have two of your strikers injured at the same time, you know, it's bad timing and it is bad luck. But we maybe should have brought in a third option somewhere along the line. So it's slightly our own doing. And just want to touch on Anthony Patterson as well. You were talking about Patterson earlier. I think he's looking more and more confident every game. Yeah. I think he is getting better as commanding, but I do think I agree with what Wayne says. I think sometimes coming and being, you know, aggressive and dominating in the box, that's something he needs to work on. But he's getting more and more confident with his feet, and the save yesterday, the save that he made, just fantastically to get the reflexes to react to that and then get it pushed up in a way. It was a brilliant save, one of the best, you know, I've seen in recent years. So yeah, hopefully I'm getting more and more confident with him as well, being in goal. So hopefully he'll just get better and better as most of the squad will.
Before we come on to the next debate, the final debate we're going to mention on tonight's Sunday Bunch live here on SAFC Fan TV. 112 people watching, 73 likes, lucky number, FA Cup that year. Next year also will be the 50th anniversary as well, for, was it that famous 1973 win? So I can imagine a lot of events and flashbacks come May next year, commemorating the fantastic event from that occasion will be spread across the platforms regarding Sunderland AFC. Joseph Bellingsley has come in with a few comments. I think we'll actually win on Tuesday, which I am tell you. We don't need a striker against Blackpool. Win Blackpool and Wigan, how are the lads? Colin Majors coming with a comment, 3-0 to the lads Tuesday. We will have Blackpool rocking on Tuesday. Joseph Lindsay again. I can't believe we draw yesterday when Jack Clark should have scored yesterday, and I would drop Patrick Roberts or Jack Clark for Jewison Bennett. What I was going to mention to you guys, the Premier Concourse was open for the game yesterday, over 41,000 fans. Fantastic to see. But should the Premier Concourse be open on a more regular basis now, would you reckon? Or do you reckon that fans would rather be in that inner bowl of the stadium with seats available down there? Or would you like to see it get used more regularly, considering that I think we stopped using it on a regular basis after we dropped down into League One, and when we come back up, we've sort of carried on that same format where we've mainly just had seats on sale in the lower section of the stadium. Wayne, I'll come to you on that.
I think the club are just going to play it on a game-by-game basis. I think I think it's only going to be if the demand's there, they'll open it up. But it's always nice to see people up there. You know, it's it adds to the atmosphere. I mean, I must say the Preston fans, they must have took their full allocation yesterday, so they were a noisy bunch yesterday. But I would like to see it open all the time. But I think the club will just use it on a game-by-game basis. If the demand's there, then it'll be open. If not, I think it'll just be the lower tier.
Jack?
Yeah, I think it all depends on the attendances. I mean, don't get us wrong. Nobody wants more than me to have 40,000 plus every week. And I think the better week we do, you know, a lot of fans will want to come a little bit more, because there are every football fan to a certain extent is slightly fickle, aren't they? You know what I mean? And those that, I mean, I've got season tickets, I'll be there regardless. But people that don't go regularly, if you see Sunderland team playing well and you know, top end of the league, then more likely to come back. I think it'll just be judged on how many we're getting, you know, what the attendance is going to be. If it's sub sort of 35, 33, something like that, I would just say, no, don't open the Premier Concourse. But if it's going to be sort of pushing towards 40 or north of 40 like it was yesterday, then I would say yes, open it. Preston, I thought, you know, Wayne's touched on their supporters. I thought they were fantastic. I thought the Preston fans, they were noisy. They kept the game going in terms of atmosphere. They didn't sing the usual rubbish chants that we're getting, you know, about our ground being too big for us and everything. So I thought they were excellent. They're one of the best sets of supporters I've seen at the stadium in recent years. Brought big numbers as well. And I thought it contributed to a good atmosphere yesterday. Just a shame the game didn't really match up to it. But I think, yeah, if we can get north of 40,000 open it up, but I prefer the fans in the bowl. I think the fans in the lower bowl, you know, fill it up. I think that's better from in my opinion.
And Emma, before we come to you, 111 people watching, 80 likes, 20 away from 100. If you could please hit the thumbs up button, that would be very much appreciated tonight, guys. Jason Flounders on the chat. In my opinion, I'd much rather see the away fans up in the concourse where our fans were sat on Saturday. Make the atmosphere much better with them being closer to our south stand. Emma, would you agree? I mean, it sort of also comes back to the comment about the away fans being up there, but what Jack was saying, Preston fans, they actually made, was it the atmosphere combined with our passion of our fans really good yesterday? How do you see the upper section of the stadium, you know, being better used going forward?
To me, Jacob, it's like what the lads have said. It's a game by game basis. See how many we sell. Yeah, it's lovely seeing the lower bowl full. So I'd rather we just open it game by game basis. So the lower bowl's full, so it doesn't look as bad, especially if the games are on TV, because you know the stick that we can get off the mags. Oh, look at them pink seats and all that sort of crap, if you like. But to me as well, it's penny pinching from the club again by not opening it for every game, because obviously they need the extra stewards, they need the extra bar staff, things like that. But I still think that we should bring the away fans back down from the upper tier. I've said that for a little while. Yeah,
I mean, it comes back to the type of away fans you get up in that section. I mean, I know there was that incident at the start of the season, which we've seen on other occasions as well, with stuff being thrown down. It happened with Portsmouth in 2019. It also, I think, was it a flare was thrown down by Coventry fans in the first game as well. So, yeah, I think it is something that needs to be addressed by the club. Are we going to make full use of the Premier Concourse going forward this season, or for a game-by-game basis, is it going to be just one of those things where if over a certain amount of tickets are sold, are we going to put it back into good use again? But personally, I would like to see fans back up there again. It reminded me of the days of when we were in the Premier League. And you know what? I've been up there. I think I had a season ticket up there for one of the Premier League seasons. It's actually not bad up there as well. You know, it does make the view of the stadium up there is absolutely magnificent. And if you do have a passionate bunch above the inner bowl of the stadium, you know, it can really add to the atmosphere. So personally, yeah, I think the club, it would be good for them, you know, to reopen it and allow fans back in there and potentially even allow them to have season tickets in there again. Wayne, what you wanted in?
I think, you know, depending where we are come Christmas time, you know, and if we are doing well, still up there, and the part season tickets go on sale, then you might see it, you know, if we do generate some more season ticket sales, and you might see it open more often.
Yeah, I mean, would you say that it could be promoted more by the club for, you know, fans to use it and put it into better use at this moment in time?
I think so, definitely. I mean, I know what Jack was saying there, but the atmosphere is better when they're all in the lower bowl. But I just think it looks better when the stadium's full. So I prefer to be open all the time, but I think it's still going to be on a game by game basis. But I would prefer to be open and the option there to, you know, to buy a seat there for the games if you wanted to.
On the live chat, Colin Major he's asked you a question, Jack. Jack, did you see the Preston fan on fans react? He was totally disrespectful to our club and our fans.
I didn't actually, Jacob.
No.
I didn't see what he was saying. So I mean, if I was just talking collectively, though, I thought that they made quite a lot of noise and they brought big numbers, and I wouldn't have associated Preston with a good away support. You know what I mean? You think of teams that are going to bring away fans. I didn't think they would have brought that many. So I was just speaking about them collectively. I thought A, they brought good numbers, and B, the noise that they made, and I thought that the chant they were pretty lively. So, but obviously, if he was disrespectful, you are going to get the odd idiot making daft comments, probably full of drink. Let's be honest, sometimes those interviews are under the influence of we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But no, I didn't see to answer Colin's question, so he may indeed have been a bit disrespectful. But I'm just talking about collectively. I thought they were a good away support, good away following.
Would you say, Jack, that they were the most lively in terms of the ones we've seen up there this season?
Yeah, I would say so far. I know we've only had 5 home games, so we haven't seen the majority of the teams at this league. But yeah, I would say they were the best, certainly in terms of noise. I don't know about numbers. I think Coventry might have brought quite a few on the opening day, but I thought in terms of lively atmosphere and noise and sticking with a team through a pretty boring game, fairly boring game, I thought Preston were really, really good. And like I say, I wouldn't have associated them with that. You know what I mean? Like, I think most, not being arrogant, but I think most away grounds we go to, teams are going to know that someone are going to bring a big following. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have associated Preston with that, so I was a little bit surprised, but, fair play to them.
Emma?
Sorry, Jacob, I was miles away there.
No worries. Would you say Preston, the fans they brought up yesterday, really added to the atmosphere?
Yeah, they did. They did. Cause, I mean, I remember actually sitting from where I sit in the local end, if you like. So obviously looking over to where they sit, I was quite surprised at how far around the Preston fans went. I was like really shocked because I think that's the most we've had away fans, probably since February or something this year. If I'm honest with you, I was quite surprised. They must have sold their allocation. They must have done, if not asked for more offer. But what I have noticed as well is the last few games with the away fans, they did used to sit them in the lower part of the concourse as well, but they've stopped doing that. So is that why maybe they're getting them to go round a bit more? So is that going to be a thing for the future as well? I don't know, but definitely they did bring a good support yesterday, and they did add to the atmosphere, even though it was a boring game.
Yeah, absolutely. Wayne, Preston fans, do you reckon they were a good bunch that they brought up yesterday?
Yeah, without doubt, they were noisy all game, and especially if they've been watching that type of football all season, fair play to them to be still as noisy after that many games, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. We've got a few minutes.
They need a medal the size of a frying pan. They've had 6-0 draws. That's what they might have been a bit noisy about. You know what I mean? Just thought, well, come away from home and at least seeing a bit of action. But it must be hard. I think they've only scored. Have they only scored 3 goals this season?
Yeah,
scored
3 goals.
Scored 3 and conceded 4.
I mean, I've seen Sunderland go on some barren runs, but that's got to be up there, like, hasn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll bring in one more debate before we end the show tonight, but just another quick glance at the live chat and the people watching. 101 watching at the moment, 89 likes, 11 away from that big 100. If you could please hit the thumbs up button, very much appreciated. On the live chat, Adam French, why not use the new players a chance? Give Ahmed meaning Ahmad Diallo, a chance also. Someone from the under-21s, or put Gary Rowell on. Super Gary Rowell, get the chant going. And Benno at the back, great show, lads. Ian Wilkinson, a debate that will come on to in future shows, hopefully in the latter stages of the season, depending on where we are. Ian Wilkinson, do you think owners are ready for another promotion? Adam French, I had Richie Pitt as my PE teacher, 73 player at Thornhill. Richie Pitt, an absolute warrior at the back for us in that 73 final. Guys, I must come on to, was it comments that were made earlier on in the show? How satisfying was it to see Alex Neil's Stoke side thumped at home by Watford today? And I had the game on myself. It was just, you know, considering in the circumstances of why he left Sunderland Football Club, you know, to see something he's walked into, it was his own decision that he made, and right now it's proving to be the wrong one. Wayne, how satisfying was you to see that?
Well, like you say, on the circumstances why I left, it's always nice for to see him suffering, but it's still a decision I can't get my head around of why he would possibly want to move apart from money. You know, compared to where we are to where they are, it just didn't make sense, and I still stand by. He's gone for money. No other reason that apart from financial benefit. He hasn't gained anything by going there. He hasn't got a better side. You know, it's not as though he could do wonders in the transfer market when he went there. You know, a week before the deadline, when the deadline shut. So, still a strange one. But yes, long may it continue, and long may he suffering go until the end of the season.
Jack.
Yeah, I think it's probably money. Probably got a bigger, you know, more wage, more money in a longer contract. Might have saw a bit more of a secure job down at Stoke. I mean, to be honest, I didn't really pay too much attention. I mean, don't get us wrong. I sort of smiled and had a bit of a chuckle to myself. But I think if we just continue doing what we're doing and kind of don't focus on Alex Neil too much, I think we'll be all right. Will we finish above them? That's maybe another topic for another debate, another day. But yeah, you know, one of those. I think we just need to kind of move on a little bit from them to a certain extent. I know why people are going to laugh, but I think we just need to kind of forget him in the nicest possible way. Just, you know what I mean? Just he's gone. So just leave him.
I mean, Emma, like what Jack said, it's like breaking up with an ex, isn't it? You know, just simply move on. But at the same time, it was quite funny today to see that result.
It's quite funny to watch.
Still looking for his first win, isn't he? Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah.
His last win was with us.
I was going to say he has won a game at Stoke's ground this season. The only problem was it was when he was not Stoke.
But no, definitely, it's funny to watch. It is, but at the same point, it's like, right, all right, move on. It is what it is. Because I mean, was it yesterday? He was interviewed, and the way he was implying stuff, it was like he couldn't make any decisions in the club. So to me, that's like a past year in his head of if we've been in this situation before.
Yeah.
So is that why he has made that move to Stoke? Because he can't make the decisions within the club. He cannot really speak to the owners. He cannot do what he wants. So when I seen that, it was like, is it the past repeating itself? But to me, move on, see how we'll get on this season, go from there.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. Guys, sadly, we've run out of time this evening. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's show on the Sunday Bunch live here on SAFC Fan TV. Thank you to all the comments that you've put on the live chat. Tonight, the likes of Ian Wilkinson, Mick Griffiths, Rusty Mackham, Adam French, Terry, who put in a comment, the man mistake earlier on as well, Will Allen, our great editor, Conrad Lee, Las Palmas Mackham, as well, and also 95 people watching, 94 likes, 6 away from 100. Please hit the thumbs up button and show the appreciation towards the channel, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe here on SAFC Fan TV. I hope you're well. Hope you have a great week. Enjoy the game at home to Blackpool on Tuesday night, and we'll be back reviewing the game here on the Thursday Night Live. So thank you to all, and as I always say on SAFC Fan TV, keep the faith.